Okay. Hey y'all. Hello all my silky friends. Um I hope everybody can hear. If you can't hear, please put it in the chat. I am so excited about tonight. Let me just say hello to everybody real quick. This is not the easiest thing to work, nor are my lights or anything else I do. Hey Kid Kitty, Katie Perrin. I can't get back up here. Eh, Let me see. Let me look at. Oh, Fallen Angel. Hello. Pam Frenchman. SRB. Slim Skittles. Let's see. Casey. I don't want to skip anybody who just hopped in here. I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this right now because I've got to do this because I just love doing it. I know it's so tacky, but I love it. Yay! And drum roll. Oh, I have a wait. Oh, wait. Here we go. I should have done this first. There we go. Oh, wait. Oh, no.
What's up, everybody?
Okay, maybe it's done. Welcome, Eville CJ.
I love
who
you,
is
Silky.
the very least evil person that I know. But I'm so excited for you. We were talking, y'all probably heard us a little bit backstage. I'm going to scoot over. Congratulations. I said it on your show, but I know how hard you work and what you've been monetized for about 2 weeks. You hit the goal.
The days blend in so much. I'm like a week and a half, something like that. 2 weeks, somewhere in between there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a lot of hard work. That's for sure. And I wouldn't be able to do it without everybody else that's a part of the show because I'm only one person, and it definitely takes a team to do a live show for sure.
Oh yeah. Well, all the trouble I had here, uh, just trying to get you on. I don't know. Evie Mux was giving me so much problems. I got everybody else on here as guests so easy, but yours just didn't want to take. So we outsmarted it. Um, and you're right. Like people don't understand how much it takes to do a live and gosh, to do a video and edit it. Jeez, it's it's a job. It's a second job.
It really is. Like, my life is a lot of nonstop work.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And that's why I'm
Exactly.
not able to put out highlights as much or the short videos and stuff, just because I wish I had the time, but it's just really hard being able to do that. So I kind of like listen to my shows while I'm at work, and then I try and maybe think of parts of a show, maybe, or something like that. But I just wanted to say, like, I appreciate you so much because whenever, from the beginning, we kind of ran into each other when we started each other's channels, out
Mm-hmm.
in the beginning. And you were the first channel to shout out the Evil CJ show in
Really?
in one of your videos. And you were the first channel in person to use my show as one of your clips in a positive way. So I just want to say thank you so much because like I remember the day that I was watching your video and you shouted out the show, and it just made me feel so proud, and so I just want to say thank you for that.
Oh wow. I didn't realize I was the first one to do that, but
Yeah.
and this is y'all. This is just going to be a little appreciation fest here. But I think I was at around
Sorry.
60 something subscribers. And all of a sudden, I get an email from CJ saying, "Hey, I really liked your videos. Would you like to be on my panel?" And I'm thinking, "What? Like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a nobody. Like, how did this guy even find me?" And You know what? With all the creator craziness and all the fighting that's going on different channels, the thing is everybody on your channel and Justice Serve Daily was on the first panel I was on also. Everybody made me feel so welcome and so appreciated. I immediately became a fan of your channel. And so, hey, y'all, if you haven't subscribed to the Evil CJ show, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you except do it. Do it. There's a lot of discussion, group thinking, and nobody ever. I mean, no matter what your theory is, you're never gonna be made to feel stupid or bad or anything like that.
No.
It's a safe place to just share, and I love it.
As long as it's respectful, you're gonna
Right.
get the ones that come in without any respect, and that's when I get my foot out. Uh, Other than that, I always have my heart out. So I always, no matter, even if I think they're wrong or not, I'm still gonna appreciate the comfort that they wanted to offer, because sometimes the stuff that we may talk about or discuss isn't always popular.
Oh yeah.
um, but at the same time, it's always with respect, no matter what anybody wants to say.
Yeah.
um,
And
it's always out of respect.
yeah, and that's the thing is it's almost unheard of these days. People are out here just beating each other over the head, and uh, I don't understand it. I've always thought we're stronger together, and we don't have to agree on everything. But my goodness, yeah. So y'all, it's great. I never have to worry about if I throw out a stupid opinion. Like, they
I
just
got I have stupid ones too.
what?
i'm I'm not the one that's ever gonna say I'm right. I'm not the one that's ever gonna say that uh there's I'm always going to have faults no matter what. So I could have the stupidest theory as well. And I wouldn't want somebody to make me feel that way. So why would I want somebody to feel that way uh, in our community? And that's why we protect it so much. We may come off cold sometimes, but it's not it at all. It's just we protect our community and we protect our atmosphere because it is important. It is important for the new person to come in and experience what that is, and be able to say that, yeah, it can be the new TV show instead of old reruns of Home Improvement or something.
Yeah, it's great. Um, and I know tonight we are like, I don't know. There's kind of a whole lot of places that
Yeah.
we can go tonight, but y- I had originally about the same time I started covering Delphi, I started covering Idaho because one of my subscribers asked me to do one show on that, and I did a video. And quickly, very quickly, as I was doing, I think I only did like six episodes on Idaho because I immediately started seeing a lot of problems. Now, not saying that Coburger is innocent, but I started seeing the things that people are talking about now, and it was so fresh. And it was around the holidays, and I thought there are things that I do not want to bring up. There are families grieving, and I thought I'm just going to leave this alone. So I took a deep dive into Delphi instead. But now, a little bit of time has passed, and I I know you know so much more about this than I do because I haven't been keeping up with it as much. But tell me, what are your general thoughts about Idaho at the moment?
What month?
I know, right?
What month? Uh,
What day, even?
that too. I don't know. The more that It's crazy. You know, I don't know. The more that we get into it, it just as much as people want to get upset about the speculation of other theories and stuff that go beyond the PCA, to say that there's way more evidence than what the PCA is showing is also speculation. Okay?
Yes.
And the reason that I say that is because I don't know, the more that that we just keep getting into different things, and the more that I look at the PCA, and the more that I see what exists and what doesn't, the more I start to wonder if this dude even really did it.
Okay, so what if you had to pick one thing about the PCA that really, really bothers you? What would that be?
The timeline. The
Mm-hmm.
timeline of the vehicle. The timeline, I mean, uh man, I have a few highlights on it, even just about the biggest thing. I mean, and now that there's it went from, okay, so you look at the case, and the case first initially was labeled unalive self unalive scenario. Okay, that one of the roommates is the one that took out the other ones and then took themselves out. That's their initial statement. So then that changes to then what really took place, right? You have the
Yeah.
coroner coming out making different statements for each interview with each either press or news organization, coming out saying different things. Then you have the father, Steve, coming out saying something that he was told from the coroner. So then there's like all these different stories, right?
Right.
Then the biggest thing of the timeline when it comes to uh, the two vehicles, the one at Linda Lane being spotted, and then the one at Nevada and Stadium at the Washington building at the same exact time, 2:44/2:45 a.m. in the morning. You have two. You're wanting to be on a lookout for a vehicle, but you only give a picture from a gas station of a vehicle that was leaving. You have all of this evidence, right? 51 terabytes, and
Right.
you don't want to give us the actual photo of the actual vehicle so you could call in the actual vehicle to the LE. Um, you look at the route of the crime, okay? You're gonna tell me that somebody's gonna be that strategic inside the crime scene, but it's gonna be chaos before and chaos after if you look at the road maps? You
Yeah.
he drives through the middle of a city and through the middle of the other city instead of going on the outskirts and on the outskirts, and the outskirts would have been a lot quicker than going through the middle of both cities where you're going to be caught on surveillance left and right. It just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't make any sense. How is the inside of the crime scene so strategic, but everything else is chaos? I don't understand how it goes from chaos to strategic to chaos. You would think it would go chaos, 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 strategic, chaos. It would be something, not chaos, strategic, chaos. I don't know. It just, I don't know. I'm not saying that he didn't do it. I'm just saying the more that I look into it, the more there's doubts
Yeah. And
as a
I
juror.
saw. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just as a juror, because that's how I have to think about it.
Exactly. Now, I saw, and I didn't get a chance to watch the whole thing, but what is this about? They were looking for a Nissan Sentra at first.
That was a New York Times article. Shout out to Michigan. She was on the show, and she sent the article to us on Saturday night,
Hmm.
and it was a New York Times article. I can send it to you if you want. It basically describes that they were looking for a Nissan Sentra 2019 to 2023 first. Then they were looking for a excuse me. Then they were excuse me. Then they were looking for a 2011 to a 2013 Elantra. Then they were looking for Koberger's vehicle. So how does Koberger's vehicle suspect vehicle number one, how is that suspect vehicle number one if you were looking for a different model before that and then you were now looking for a different model before that? Are we talking suspect vehicle -1 and then 0 and then we get to suspect vehicle 1? I don't know, that
Yeah.
don't make sense to me either.
Yeah.
But I'm not
There's
Ellie, so I don't know. I don't know how that shit works. Sorry
yeah.
if I can't
Oh, you're
say it better.
fine.
Okay.
Um, the thing too is I remember like back I was when I was working nights and I was like in your chat every single night. Um, and we were looking for Elantras that were older, right? Wasn't it
Mhm.
an older one that we were looking for first?
Yeah, it was a 2011 to 2013
Yeah.
back
And
then.
then,
Yeah.
they chased one down and some lady had an accident in it in
Yeah.
another state. And it was like,
Yep.
what the heck?
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yep. And yeah, Oregon, I think.
Yeah. And so everybody was just really confused. Then they come out with, it's a different year. Well, that makes a whole lot of difference. You got to get the right vehicle. Let's start with that. Um, but there's so much, and I think one of the reasons that I stopped covering Idaho, and I'll probably do some more videos on that one, but the reason I stopped is because the big, elephant in the room, of course, is the time of the unaliving and the time that it was reported to police. Because I don't want to. I don't want to shame anybody. I don't know the reasons, but you got to ask what the heck was going on. So what I'm like, I mean, there's a lot of theories. And, let me just say that a lot of this is speculation and theory, but what are
Always,
your
always.
thoughts on that?
I mean, there's so many. That's one of those things. Obviously, you just have to wait to trial. I mean, there could be so many reasons, from being threatened to having earbuds in your ears. I don't know. That's a tough one, really. I don't understand. You know what I mean? Because as a person, I not only detailed high end clients, but I also detailed like funeral fleets and stuff too. And uh, we would have vehicles that would come in time and time that would have uh, you know I don't know how a polite way to say this. It would have left fluids left over, and when you smell that smell, it's a smell that you can't describe. It's a smell that uh,
Yeah.
is indescribable, and I'm sorry. I don't know how anybody wouldn't have woken up uh, with that.
I think I have less problem with if they had been asleep the whole time cuz here's the thing. I understand college kids are going to go out and do what they do. And if they were inebriated and, like you said, had their earbuds in and stuff like that, and then just kind of crashed, what if they, crashed around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning and then they wouldn't wake up for a considerable amount of time? The problem is that everybody else knew something had happened. What, for around 8:30 at least, 8:30, It was going around on Snapchat.
Well, I've heard like around 9, but then, we've had Kim on the show a few times. WSU Mom Kim,
Hmm.
shout out. I love her. We've had her on the show a few times, and her children were getting notifications at like, I think she said 10. So somewhere in the morning, I've heard 8:30, 9, 9:30, 10. So somewhere in the morning sometime there was a lot of chatter that was taking place for sure.
Yeah, I think I was basing that on an interview from one of the guys who was a student there. I cannot remember his name, but it's a fairly popular interview. And he said he had to be at work at 9, so he
Oh,
woke up.
Enon.
Yeah, okay, okay. Yeah, he said he had to be at work at 9, so he woke up, we're guessing 8, I don't know, 8, 8:30, whatever and he saw everything on there. Um, so obviously some people knew. And I guess my question is, if they were afraid, people have said it was, hypothetically, it was a shakedown. And um, if they were afraid, then who were they afraid of? Because one guy, I mean, after you commit that kind of crime, you're not going to come back. I don't think. I would not expect somebody to come
Well,
back.
there's two things. Kaylee had talked about a creeper, and supposedly, there's a story out there that she had mentioned something about a creeper in the backwoods at one point before. Now with the scenario that you're talking about, um, that has to do with like substances and stuff like that.
Right. And I mean, like, again, kids are going to be kids. I neither condone it, but I do understand that there are things. I mean, just on the basic, kids are going to be they're going to be, drinking, and there's probably going to be some weed involved. And most likely, there's probably going to be some Adderall or something like that involved, for late night studying. And not saying it's okay, kids, go do this, but I know that's what happens. Um, but I guess there's a lot of things that bothered me about that in the very beginning. Certainly, you could be in shock. I can't imagine what the girls went through.
Oh,
If
for
you wake
sure.
up and yeah, I don't even know what I would do.
Yeah. Oh, for
Um,
sure.
but you would think that there's enough television shows, like, the first thing you do is call 911. um but again, if they had substances in their system and it kind of dulled their receptivity, I guess, you might not be thinking clearly. um
Well, they
I
were
don't know.
already drinking that night.
Right.
Yeah, so and the girls, we watched the grub truck, and they were pretty intoxicated then too. And that was shortly before they arrived home. Now, this is another thing that's weird about, the timeline. At first, LE came out and said the crimes took place between 3 and 4 in the morning. Then they came out and changed that to between 4 and 4:25.
Right.
So they did. There was some time to kind of wind down from the effects of it, but we've all been pretty intoxicated, or I think most of us, or some
Hmm.
of us have. Uh,
Sure.
if you're drinking, you're still pretty. Even an hour or two later, you're still pretty. Especially if it's bedtime, you're pretty out of it too.
Yeah. And I mean,
I can't
so
imagine.
I can't imagine the horror that they
Yeah.
woke up to, if they
Mm,
even went to sleep. I mean, I don't know. If
right.
I had been downstairs and seen somebody in the house and, super freaky looking, I locked myself in the bedroom. I don't know if I would even come out for a very long time.
Kind
But
of, kind of like what the what the surviving roommates did, I suppose, is, because who
Yeah.
knows? I mean, you know, I don't know. It's you can't even imagine. That's for
No,
sure.
and I guess, if you really want to get into it, there have been a lot of cases where the perpetrator, unalived people and then stayed in their house and cooked meals and, hung
Yeah.
out. So I mean, I guess you can't always assume that somebody's gone, but yeah, that's the thing. And I certainly understand if they
Mm.
had some things in their house that were street, narcotic, street drugs or whatever. Um, I I don't think the police, if they had just called them right away, I don't think they would have been as concerned with that, like charging the kids. I mean, normally that kind of just falls by the wayside, but in their heads, if they did have, or thought maybe somebody had left something there, whatever, I could see them saying, before we call anybody, let's make sure that there is nothing in this house, that we can go to jail for. That could be another reason. Just saying.
That had I can't even imagine trying to do that with that crime scene,
I guess that's the
Oof.
thing is
Like
yeah,
I don't know. That'd be crazy tough.
yeah,
Especially if you're a friend. Like,
right. Because, if you're going to get, you're very right. If you're going to have to get, let's
mm,
say one of the roommates knew that another one had some kind of illegal substance in their room, you would literally have to crawl over the bodies, open
yeah.
drawers and, closets and,
Walk I mean, and you're walking in it, like uh I don't know. You I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know. I could I don't know. Like putting myself in that situation, I don't see how I could do it.
Yeah, I
Like
don't.
seriously. So
Yeah,
I don't know. I I can't imagine.
I can't either. The one thing, and I know you sent me a lot of. We'll get into Brian Koberger, because there is a lot of that we know of. There's a lot of damning evidence against him. Now, one of the things when I was reading the PCA today, um, I believe it said that, was it Xana that was on, who was it? One of them, I thought it was, they said Xana was on TikTok around 412.
Right. Yeah.
And so if you go by what they said, somewhere between, 4 and 420, even 425, like, here is my problem with that. If Xana was on TikTok, you tell me you're going to unalive, you know, 4 people in, what would that be? 8 minutes if you go at 420?
Like 9, something like that, yeah.
I mean, that
It's not much.
is.
That's what I'm saying. How does it go if you look at the PCA, right?
Mhm.
And anybody can go to my channel and they can see any of the videos where it talks about the time Koberger's timeline, whether it's with Kopaka or anything else. Anytime that I'm doing that timeline, if you go by, and first of all, I don't understand how the same vehicle can be in 2 spots at once, like I said, unless you're Marty McFly. Other than that, I don't see how that could happen. But then if
Mhm.
you go by what the PCA says, where the car was witnessed or surveilled, it's just chaos. It makes no sense going there. Chaos leaving makes no sense, but then so strategic inside. I just it's just crazy. It's so confusing to me. How can somebody be that strategic if you're going to crumble when the situation is intense before or after? I don't
Yeah.
understand.
And
You crumble in this in the I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm not
uh
saying he didn't do it or didn't have a part in it because I don't.
right. and you know, you sent me all those, like I said, those things from different groups and Reddit and Facebook and stuff that we think, and I don't know, maybe you know that maybe there's proof that was him at some of those. So, I mean, I do want to talk about that because that completely leads me somewhere else. But I mean, just the time. I mean, certainly, I believe that someone could be that. I mean, especially if you were on a substance, you could be that maniacal, I guess, to unalive 4 people in 8 minutes, but it would be a major feat, I think, to do
Right.
that. And
Right.
so I think that's where it seems rather doubtful that he uh, worked alone. And also, I remember the day that he got arrested, they said news reports were he asked when they arrested him, "Have you arrested anybody else?"
Right.
So, I mean, could he have been saying that to throw them off? Yes, of course. But I mean, to me, that almost seems like a genuine question. You know, I could be wrong about that, but, um, you
Well,
know,
it's I mean, it is. It is interesting. The choice of words when he said his public defender in PA, sat down with a local news station and had an interview, and he told them that uh, Koberger was very adamant that he put in his statement that he couldn't wait to get back so he could be exonerated. And the public defender said he was emphatic about having that in the statement, wanted to make sure I said that specific word. So when does that happen? I don't know. It's crazy to me to say that that means somebody's innocent. No, not saying that, but it definitely is odd that somebody is going to say those two statements after
yeah,
being apprehended.
completely. Um,
And why
yeah, there's
wouldn't he clean his car before, if he's such a neat freak, why wouldn't he have cleaned his car before he even went on the trip before his dad was going to ride in it? So everybody's so
right.
focused about him cleaning their car in PA, but what about if he's such a neat freak and he knew his dad was coming?
Hmm.
Why wouldn't he have been cleaning it with bleach at his apartment in PA instead? I don't
Oh,
know.
yeah.
It's I don't know. It's just weird. It's
Yeah,
just
you're gonna
weird.
wait some, weeks
I
to
don't know.
clean your car. Nuh-uh. You got to get that evidence out of there. I mean, he's for goodness sakes, he's a student of criminal justice. He would know. Um, unless he pulled, yeah, there's always the chance that he pulled
What's
a
up?
Dexter and put plastic everywhere.
Right.
But I mean, other than that, you would know. You would know tiny, minute blood stains and stuff. No.
Yeah,
And
for
it
sure.
seemed like wasn't when they were pulled over, the car didn't look messy to me, did it you?
I mean, it was dirty from road wear, but I mean,
Right.
when a car's on the road that long, of course. Plus, they took a different route because there was a storm coming through, a big storm that was coming through. So they had no choice but to go south, and then they ended up going like 41 hours instead of 37, I think it was, if they would have went the normal route. Um, so you're going through mountains and all sorts of different terrain. You already went through the Midwest, like your Nebraska, South Dakota region area. You're going through all these different uh, agricultures and lands, and so of course it's going to be crazy dirty. I mean, it wasn't dirty, it wasn't it nothing stuck out when it came to the body cams.
Right. Yeah. I didn't. I mean, now Koberger has that very intense stare. I mean, when he
Yeah.
when he
Oh,
was
yeah.
talking, like it's like, but you can't convict somebody on the way they look. I mean, I've known people in real life who were harmless, but they just have that look, like that's their normal expression. You're like, hey,
Right.
hey, buddy, back off.
Right. Right. Right.
Um, but yeah, it's such a hard case because of and the sheath. But this kind of gets me. It really, really does.
The sheath.
If you're gonna if you're gonna commit a crime like this, and you are a student of criminal justice, and like, are you gonna leave the sheath there?
If you're not going to shut your phone off when you leave to go commit the crime, then I guess so.
I
But
mean,
uh, I don't know.
I
I
mean, it could
mean,
have been accidental.
you would think, I don't know. You, yeah. I mean, who says he wasn't dressed up like or they or he or she wasn't dressed up like Dexter? And the sheath was just to cover the knife as they were going inside to commit the crime, and they ended up losing it that way because it wasn't attached to a belt or something. Um, I don't know. You would, I don't know. I guess that would be the only unstrategic part of the strategic part of the crime itself.
Well, and I guess that's, kind of why a lot of people, myself included, are looking at you know, I guess what they call victimology, and the amount of time, the very short amount of time. You would think now, and unless Ethan was really, really inebriated and really couldn't stand up and defend himself, you would think it would take a few minutes to unalive a man, not counting the three other girls. Um, and there could be reasons for that, but I think that's one of the things that a lot of people who are questioning this whole thing is, it looks more like it has the earmarks of a drug hit, you know. And not to say that it was, but and I learned this early in the game, and I think True Crime Design came out with a video not very long ago, maybe a week or a few days, about the histories of the mom, one of them's mom and one of them's stepmom. And
Right.
I had looked into that like months ago, and I was like, whew, I ain't touching that one. It's too fresh. It's too fresh. But did you see that one though, CJ?
I have not watched it yet. I'm still kind of, even though because I've explored that part, the scenario of that part, I'm still kind of, I don't know, I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet. Uh, yeah, I've explored it. Even Rory has came on. Even Tommy has talked about it. Um, I can see where they're coming from, and I can see where you're coming from as well. I'm still waiting for more.
Look at you being so diplomatic as always, CJ. Well, and here's the reason. Let me just tell you why I
Sure.
have to wonder, because of my own personal experiences. And
Mm, okay.
back years ago, when I worked at the hospital, one of the nurses I worked with, her husband was a police officer, and she came to work one day just torn out of the frame because of a case that he had, and this, it wasn't even in the papers yet. A case that he had worked, and it was a very tragic situation where you had an invalid father. And I don't really know how old he was, but he was in a wheelchair, and his daughter was living with him in a trailer. She was like 6 months pregnant. They came into Intruders came into the house, and they unalived him in the worst way. And of course, he was completely defenseless because he couldn't get out of the chair. In the meantime, she had the daughter had barricaded herself in the bedroom, and then she was able to knock out a window and crawl out. But they set the whole trailer on fire. Now, horrible situation, and they quickly realized it was drug related. So, fast forward a few years, I had a friend. Really, I mean, he's good now, but back in the day, he was, he was running drugs himself. And he told me, he said, "Remember this case?" And I'm like, "Oh, God, yeah, do I remember that one? That was all over the papers." And he said, "I was supposed to be there that night." And I was like, "Oh, my God." He said, "Yeah, I backed out at the last minute." He said, "I just found something else I wanted to do." Now, he did not know what was going to happen, but what he did know is that the drug dealers, and it was more than one person that came, were going to collect some money and basically make a example of what happens when you don't pay. Now, he said, "Do you know how much money they got?" And I said, "No." He said, $40. That's all this guy owed, was
What?
$40. Yeah, $40. And of course, the dad was unalived, and the daughter did get away. She moved out of the state, but that was, again, mind blowing. Who does that? Who burns down a house? And I mean, it was a very gruesome murder. Um, then fast forward a few years, and this is in, don't think it was my county. I think it was a neighboring county, but you had a woman who, she was like on the fringe of, I don't know if she was married to the wrong person in the cartel or whatever. It had to do with drugs and that kind of thing. They came into her house in the middle of the day and unalived her, decapitated her. Now, this is just a mother, and she's there with her small child. They murdered, maybe I can't say that. They unalived the child uh, and the mom, decapitated the mom like at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Again, just as a statement. So, and this is in my area. So, when I look at things that happen around here,
Damn.
I'm like, geez, they really will do things like this, just slaughter people. Um, and it makes me wonder, even though it was a small thing, I know I've heard, and I've even heard interviews with maybe the same woman that was on your show saying that there was a lot of drugs going through that house. So, you know, I don't know, but I'm saying it doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be a whole lot. It can be a very small amount. And these people are so nuts that it's nothing to unalive somebody for, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying, where you're going, where you can come from. I'm not gonna say that people haven't came in chat that live in that area, uh, that have said that that stuff kind of exists up there. Um, yeah, do you sub to Rory? Thou shalt not kill true crime.
No, I haven't heard of that
Okay.
one.
Well,
Okay.
he's a friend of the show that we have on.
Okay.
If you sub to him, thou shall not kill true crime. He actually has a video that he came out with today discussing tunnels that are underground. Um,
Okay. I saw somebody
so
comment about that.
yeah, check out some of his videos.
And that was what?
Thou,
Rory?
I'll, it's if somebody can put it in chat. Let me
Is
see.
Jinxie's in here? Does she have the link?
Here, I can type it without putting the thing in. Hold on.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about promoting other creators. Hey, we're not in a competition. We're in a war. We're in the same side, or we should
There you
be.
go.
You know.
Just add the @ to it, and then that'll be his channel.
Okay, yeah, I want to check
Check
that
out
out.
some of his videos because uh there's some like, and then even with the Tommy call, listen to the Tommy call one
Mm-hmm.
that he has up. Tommy's been on our show too. You can definitely check out the episode where he's on there too. He kind of goes into more about it and stuff like that. Now, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I have that's one thing that I haven't heard too much about is that in that area. Now, you hear a lot about uh the LE, and you hear a lot about um just different things that are going around in the area, but I haven't heard anything as to that. But not to say that it don't. I just haven't heard. But people are putting out some pretty interesting videos, and I definitely am going to check out that one that you're talking about.
Well, I'd say based on, the older family members of the girls, again, not to shame anybody. It's public record, though. I mean, it's public record, their history. There has to be some kind of, drug activity. And I think I was watching was it a documentary? Something that they were talking about how fentanyl had become
Yeah,
such a big thing over
there's a
there.
lot of ODs up there too. Yeah, there's a lot of ODs up there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of mental illness up there. There's a lot of things going around up there in the community up there, and I don't know. It when I was living in Akron, I mean, there was a 2-year period there um that it was going through the city like crazy, and they had to like get semi trailers because there was no room at the morgues to keep up.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like it was ridiculous. It was a crazy amount every week. And there was literally like there'd be trailers of just, that was
Oh,
it's all
jeez.
they could do. They just couldn't keep up. And so, it could be one of those things even. You just never know. Um,
You don't.
no.
And,
But there's definitely a problem.
um, there's a new thing. I don't know, maybe it's not new to anybody else, but I just, of course, I work at a jail. I'm the nurse at the jail. And, we have training every month. And y'all may have heard of what they're calling Trank, Trank. And like, oh my God, this is mind blowing. New thing. And they said that it has now, we've had some cases in Alabama, which is, horrifying, but it is fentanyl and a large animal tranquilizer mixed. Um, like, to take down a rhinoceros or some, something like that, like the big game
Mhm.
tranquilizer mixed with fentanyl. And the thing of it is that if somebody, basically stops breathing or is in the process of, dying, then you can't Narcan them, which is what we do because
Oh,
fentanyl
really?
comes in. Yeah, because fentanyl
Oh,
comes in all the
wow.
time, even in the
Right.
jail where, everybody tries to be careful, but, these people
It's
find a
gotta be
way.
hard. Yeah, it's gotta
Yeah.
be hard.
So when somebody is passed out on the floor and they've barely got a pulse, we just Narcan them and they come right out of it. But, basically, and if we get some of these trank people, there's nothing we can do. And I mean, there's a good, I guess the rate of, dying is
Wow.
really
Yeah,
high. And so,
right.
I mean, it's horrifying. And I don't, I've never been a drug user, but I don't understand why you would want to take a tranquilizer, like, unless you were trying to unalive yourself. I don't know. I'm not saying, drugs are good, but I can even kind of understand why people take some kind of amphetamine, to get stuff done, lose
Mm.
weight, whatever they're going to do. But
Whatever their vice is, yeah.
yeah, but tranquilize yourself, like,
Yeah.
that's weird to me. I don't know. I don't get it, but
Well, it's like people huffing paint. I
yeah,
I don't know. I I
I
don't
don't know either. I've never. But yeah, everybody has their thing, and I think
Right.
a lot of huffing is
I don't know. I'm just saying I'm just saying, like, I don't know, it's just crazy to me, like, people have the bags on their heads and then they have, like, gold paint all over their face. And
right.
it's like, what the fuck are you doing, man? I don't know.
Exactly.
I
And
don't know.
I mean, I think I saw it more like years ago with high school, college students, stuff with the air duster. I worked at one place like years ago where you had to sign out if, you had to, because that air duster really does clean your, in between your keys of your keyboard. And, you had to sign out and explain what you were doing with the air duster. Because I don't know, did they have a problem at work with people, just huffing that? I don't know. I guess they did.
I suppose. I don't know.
I
Never
mean,
done
but
it.
I
Never
know.
done
So
it.
I would get paranoid when I would go into Walmart and, I'd pick up some, duster because my keys were sticking together. And I'd be like, I hope nobody sees me. Nobody I know sees me taking, buying the
Walking like
contraband.
this, hiding it.
Exactly. But I mean, and that, not that that's not bad, but I mean, comparatively, because that was like, I don't know how long, 10, 12 years ago, 15 years ago, I don't know, something like that. And now it's like, you know what? If somebody is huffing, it's such a minor thing, comparatively now.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Especially with, yeah, that fentanyl. It's that's crazy to hear though, that you can't get them out of it. Like,
Yeah.
so you just, wow. Have you, I mean, and prayers to you, because, even if you come in contact with some of that stuff, it's probably going to affect you, right? Like,
Um, and that I can't remember. I just took training on this. I hope my boss isn't watching. I can't remember.
sorry.
Um, I know fentanyl does.
Yeah,
If
that's what,
we,
like, that's
yeah.
got to be so scary.
Oh yeah, because this was just a couple of weeks ago down in booking. One of the officers had somebody in the drunk tank, and just putting their stuff. We were going to book them in, and just basically going through their stuff, and okay, this, because if you have money and things like that, you have to list everything that is in their possession so that when they get out, you can return it, and they can't say, "Oh, I had $500 cash in there." No, it has to be, everything has to be verified. So he was going through you know the belongings, and there was like a, almost like a receipt or something, a piece of paper. He picked it up, wasn't even trying to open it, but it falls open, and then all of a sudden there's a poof of dust.
Ooh.
And so, yeah,
Ooh.
immediately, he is
Oh boy.
trying to dust, air dust, blow off everything, wash his hands, because
Oh
literally
boy.
you can overdose as an officer just touching this stuff.
Yeah, I've
Um,
seen the body cams of it. That shit's, I mean,
yeah.
like that too.
And
Wow.
so, he was up in medical, and, I'm like, trying to wash everything, his, wipe down with some heavy duty cleaner, his uniform and everything else. But I mean, he was real loopy there for a while.
Oh
Um,
boy.
and it was just a tiny amount that he had been exposed to. So yeah,
It's
it's
scary. And that
yeah. And
shit,
I was like grabbing the Narcan, okay, in case you pass out.
right. I mean, yeah, always on standby for sure.
hmm Yeah, and that's, I guess that's the thing with, I don't know how Trank is going to be. I don't know how it's going to be packaged. I don't know. I don't nothing. I don't know. Is it going to be in powder form? I don't know. How do you do that? Is it going to be like, some other stuff in little rocks? I don't know. But
Hmm.
it is really disturbing for sure. Um, and
Never heard of it. That's crazy.
well, and we're a small town. I mean, this is Alabama. I mean, it used to be, you know, the biggest thing people used to do is just drink and smoke weed, and you know, drag race each other down the highway.
Right? The strip.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's so bad. It's just so bad. And like I
Yeah.
said, now in our area, we have, and I don't want to like call anybody out for a particular ethnicity, but we have a lot of immigrants, and the way our immigration laws don't really exist well, um, we end
That's
up
true.
having a lot of people that have come in that are, gang and cartels. And I'm like, this is a small area, but yeah, it's here. So I can imagine that it's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you hear about it all over the place. It's not even a suburb or inner city kind of thing either. It's all over.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
I mean, it's,
downtown and it's in at the farmhouse. It's all over.
yeah. So I mean,
It's an epidemic. Yeah.
it is an epidemic, and so you can kind of understand. It has become so commonplace. Back when I was a youngster, way back a long time ago.
Don't have my glasses.
Back in my day, son.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing back then was, I don't think I can say it. I don't want to get in trouble with YouTube, but you see the movies with what's his name, the Al Pacino, and you see the powder, that
Oh,
stuff.
Scarface.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. We're playing
Yeah.
charades.
Scarface.
But yeah, I mean, back in my day, son, that was really the worst thing out there. If you were doing that, like, man, I mean, you were. But around here, not saying that there wasn't any ever, but like I think it was a lot harder to get back in the day. Um,
Times change,
yeah, and now, you know,
It's
I think people's perception has also changed in that it's not such a taboo. I mean, it is for my kids, but it's not as big of a thing because it's like everybody does it. And when you had the crystal come in, it was, I guess, kind of marketed as, oh, this, just take a little bit of this, and you'll clean your house, and you'll get so much done, you'll get skinny, and it was kind of like an underground marketing thing. Just add a little bit of this to your coffee, and here you go, boom, you can get everything done that you need to. And I think now you have these designer drugs, and I think it's become way more commonplace for younger people to experiment. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that it's right, but does it happen? I just think it happens more.
Well, I mean, you remember the war on drugs,
Mm-hmm.
the Nancy Reagan, Ronald Reagan thing. I'm sure because you were doing research about the boys in the railroad tracks.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever get deep into the where that connection went?
Oh, it went
And
all the way to Washington.
okay, so it had to do with Iran Contra
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
okay, okay. So the war on drugs was a big joke, was it not?
Oh yeah.
When you find out all the stuff that you found out, the war
Yeah.
on drugs was a big joke.
Mm-hmm.
It,
I mean,
it
even the
it's been a
slogan, just say
problem.
no.
Yeah, it was a big joke because that's what funded a lot of the crap that they were doing behind the scenes, but then it ruined our communities with the crack epidemic. It introduced the
Right.
crack epidemic to the United States. So so they could pay whatever they wanted to pay because the Senate and Congress wouldn't allow them to continue to pay him anymore. So they had to figure out a different way to pay it. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it's the same thing. Like it's gonna be everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, exactly, Dan. That's a good comment right there. The war on drugs was advertising drugs Because I'm going to tell you right now, I was in middle school and I had to go through DARE, and that's how I learned about a lot of the other shit besides weed.
Mhm.
Like, I already knew about weed, but uh, I didn't know nothing about cocaine. I'm sorry. Ooh, sorry. I didn't.
I know but
I
you
didn't
know
know
what?
no. And I
It's
was winning the
hard.
Dare Bear every week in class because I was, you know what I mean? Because I was learning the
Yeah.
shit. Like I was learning it, and I got the Dare Bear, every week because I was the one that answered the most questions, about the Dare program and shit. So
Yeah.
yeah, like it's everywhere. It really just starts with us being a parent and being there and trying to do everything we can to make sure that we limit those, because we're not going to be able to limit them all, but to limit those situations where they might uh become intersected with something like that. It, a lot of it starts with at home, and then after that you just have to trust that they make the right decisions and hope for the best, because we're each our own person, and so we'll always be our own person, no matter if we're a little baby or on our deathbed. We'll always be our own person. So
Yeah. And I mean, that truly is. It does start at home, but then also, I mean, we're talking about Iran Contra, but look, I believe, you know, somebody gonna yell at me about this, and I hope I don't get a visit from the government this evening. But I firmly believe that this
ding
still goes on
dong.
in our country. It's just, it's just not called Iran Contra. This is how, so many places fund. This is how the government funds a lot of stuff, and unfortunately, it's not just drugs. And as you know from talking with JSD, it's trafficking. It's human trafficking as well.
It's all
Um,
sorts, it's again, it's whatever their vice is,
right.
um
So I guess that's why, going back to Idaho, that it's. I guess I don't want anybody to think that with whatever I say about the students that I am saying that they were terrible people. Okay, because if there were drugs in that home, and if they were participating in kind of a party lifestyle, look, it is become so commonplace that I don't know if people really, I'm sure their parents taught them better, but you know what, you're young, you're a kid, and everybody else is doing it, and it's kind of
uh,
the thing to do.
I mean, and and that thing is legal in a lot of states. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So, um, you know, uh, it's medicine as well. So, you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? It's I don't know. I'm not. I don't even. I'm not even saying that they were even doing anything like that. They were definitely intoxicated.
Mm-hmm.
They did enjoy drinking. I mean, what college uh, kid wouldn't? Um,
Right.
you know, uh, I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I
I don't
guess
know.
it's just
I've heard a lot of things that don't go with the whole beyond recreation type stuff.
right. And I mean, again, I'm not condoning recreational use of substances, but some people are able to do that. And I guess what I'm saying is it wouldn't be if there was, as people have allegedly said, okay? I have no proof, uh, nor has Ellie said that this is
Right.
true.
Right.
But if there were a lot of, substances going through that house, I guess my point is, from personal experience, I know that you could have a hit on very little money or for very
Oh,
little reason, you know.
yeah. You gave us an example.
Yeah,
With
it's
that for sure.
terrifying. So yeah, but then I look at Brian Koberger, and let me check on what time. Oh, okay, because I know. So you sent me a lot of things that I had seen some of them before, and I may put those up here in a minute. Wait, somebody is talking about. Okay,
You should do
y'all are
your
just
own
having a
read through.
what?
You should do your own read through of the Papa Rogers stuff I sent you, Silky. With
Oh, I did. I did.
you
I did
did?
that today. Yes,
All
absolutely. And
right.
I
Okay.
kept a few slides for a slideshow, and but a lot of
Awesome.
them, CJ, I had looked at back in like December or January
Hmm.
because I am a huge seeker of information on Reddit on things I that are new. You know, and you have to with Reddit. You kind of have to. It may or may not be true, but I did see. I think on Reddit he was inside looking, and I
Yeah.
actually did a video about that.
Yeah.
And I had to go back and watch my own video today. I'm like, I can't even remember what these people's names were. It's been so long, and I've been in Delphi so long. But yeah, and then of course the Papa Roger thing. I had seen both of those, and I mean, so tell me, because you probably know better than I do, have they verified that either of those accounts were definitely Coburger?
Well, from the only thing that I've heard was that the email for Papa Rogers was no connection to Koberger.
Okay.
So, and that's we went through the inside looking. I believe that's him. Um,
Yeah.
we did a show on that. The one show I can't find is my live read through of Papa Rogers stuff because that is when we went. I don't know what kind of order it came through on email for you, but that was when we went through like the whole from top to bottom, and I cannot find that episode of on my list. Um, that I don't know. Like it makes it definitely when you read through everything, it definitely seems like it was somebody that knew the details
Mm-hmm.
or was part of it. And that was before Koberger was even arrested when that came out. Once he was arrested, then the Papa Rogers stuff was gone.
Okay, yeah, that was my question because and it came through in different ways, and then I went through all the slides and I'm like, okay, there's no way we could cover all this tonight. But I
Yeah.
saved some of them, and I'll throw
It's for
some of
you.
them. Yeah, they were kind of in just different orders, but yeah, I had seen that, and obviously there were a couple of things that were extremely disturbing. So
Yeah.
are are they saying, because I thought I read one place where they kicked Papa Roger out because he was just entirely too creepy, and then but Brian got arrested. So is it still potentially him? I mean, it sounds like him. I'll just be honest.
Um, I don't know. In my opinion, I don't. It definitely is creepy.
Yeah.
But I have when you go back to what Koberger said when he was arrested in PA, it just I don't know. It just and with his email or no connection to him supposedly. I don't know. I just put those things together and I don't know. It just makes me feel like there was somebody else
I
that
just
it was
found
somebody else.
sorry, I was just looking at a
Oh
comment.
wow.
Shine like a diamond. Papa Rogers was on panel with Red X once. Who is Red X? I don't know.
Yeah,
Do
I'm
you
not
know?
sure who. No, I don't know who Red X is.
Huh. Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
Prayers, Gene. I don't know. I mean, I mean, it definitely, whoever. I don't know. It just, I don't know. I'm not saying it's not because none of us know, unless we're talking to Billy at the water cooler. But um, I don't know. I just in my gut, in my gut is a good way to say it. In my gut, I just feel
Hmm.
like it was somebody else, that it
Um,
wasn't him.
it could have been, but you're right. The details were pretty dadgum
They
accurate.
the sheath before the sheath even came out.
Yes.
That's the big one.
Yeah.
That's the one
And
that stuck out to me.
I was going to ask you, let me see if I can actually do something. Well, there was a couple of things that can. Oh wait, let me figure out how to put you in here. Because yeah, you're supposed to go straight up in that. You're supposed to go straight up in that little panel, but for some reason, Evie Mux just decided to get weird on me today. Um, all right, make sure everybody's seeing what I'm seeing. Can you, CJ? Can you see that?
Yeah. I'm
Okay.
like covering you now though.
No, I'm down here. I'm down here.
There we go. Oh, I'm late. I'm okay, hold on. I'm on the wrong thing. I'm trying to watch YouTube chat too.
Yeah, it's hard because I want to respond to
There we go.
stuff that people say, and I can't see that a lot.
Ooh, you
Okay,
got
but
the
let me.
widescreen now. Ooh,
What?
nice. I feel like I got more room now. I'm on the widescreen.
Here, wait. Let me stretch you out a little bit.
You don't.
If I can do this, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what on earth
I'm
Evie Mux
taking
was doing.
over.
There you go. Now you can
I'm
really
taking
stretch
over.
out. There you go.
I am claustrophobic.
Um, but yeah, let me get back to these layers. I've got a light right where I can't see anything. All right.
You're doing an
This is,
amazing job. I love your coffee cup or your tea. Sorry.
I'm
I
thinking
think
about that.
coffee. I think coffee every
I
time, but
know.
tea.
It's like, it kind of looks like silky southern coffee, but you know what? It is what
No,
it
we know what it
is.
means. It's my dumbass that
I
fucked it
just,
up. I
no,
just
no,
love
no.
coffee.
But I'm
It's
thinking
tea.
about doing that for a logo, you know, and not
Yeah.
having the word tea out there. But I'm like,
I thought about Oh, I'm sorry.
yeah, but what if they think it is silky southern coffee? Like I'm a coffee shop.
No, it's in your name. It's my dumbass that was thinking of coffee. I'm the one that fucked it up. Just cut that part out of the show. All right.
No,
Cut.
it's uh
Cut. Can we cut that? Can we cut that? Okay. Okay.
man, do I wish I had a team of people who could help me. Yeah, that wouldn't that be awesome? Maybe one day, CJ. Maybe we'll
Producer said it was okay, so we're good. We're good.
Okay. Okay,
Thank
this
you, guys.
picture though.
Appreciate it.
This one was, and I had a copy of this from months ago. This was on the profile of Papa Roger, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So, I mean, it's a guy in military. Uh very very similar to Coburger. I'm just saying, in my opinion, chillingly looks
What, the
like.
stare? What, the stare? Or what do you mean?
Just
The
the whole,
nose?
like the
What?
face structure. Now the nose is different, but the whole, yeah, kind of the stare, the face structure. It's like, I don't like, it looks so much like him. I don't know where this picture came from, but I guess what I'm saying is, for Papa Roger to have so much information, his his profile picture actually looked like Coburger before the fact. I think that's eerie.
Well, this is where I'm coming from with that, right? When I look at this picture. Why would somebody that just was in ROTC for a little bit be so infatuated with somebody of that stature? As you're looking at his picture, obviously has some stature. Instead of somebody that maybe that was some sort of idol figure that was knees deep in the shit.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did a very unpopular video about that, and I I may touch on that for a second, only
Mm.
because, and let me go back up here to one of the other slides that you sent. I need a mouse in the worst way because this is not what I'm looking for. I can't get, I really am inept. Let me go back to this one. Uh, okay, let me move this over so you have room to stretch again. Okay, this is where Papa Roger is talking about,
Oh yeah, gosh, these memories.
yeah, um, talking about the knife, but described it as a blade used by Marines in the 1940s. It looks similar to the one Sylvester Stallone used in Rambo. Okay, now there is a reason, and let me go through some of these though. This is Papa Roger. Let's see what we got here because these were, uh, and this is just I actually cut this, clipped this one. I need to make this smaller. I'm taking over you. Don't know what I'm doing over here. All right. But they're talking about Papa Roger. This lady is saying that he definitely gives, the vibes of serial killer. Let's see.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what we were talking about. If y'all have not read, I'm gonna make this smaller. I think I made it bigger, CJ, because I can't see anything. um,
Oh, looks good to me.
okay. He says, I feel like, the red stuff ran down a few places, but it has been suppressed. The kitchen was dripping also, but they won't admit it. So, I mean, I know there's pictures of the red stuff running down the wall.
Right.
And so, again, he's saying, and this is all before we knew, right? Is it? I think he put this in
Yeah.
here before. So that's what's creepy. If
I
this
mean,
is not him, who is
yeah.
it?
I mean, those pictures you're talking about actually came out pretty early.
Okay.
That's when we got because there was a lot of news crew there. They were taking photos inside the windows, through the windows and stuff, and that's where a lot of those pictures came from, whether it was the drip on the wall, um, or the 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 DoorDash bag that you see the Xana name on it with the coffee cup, kitchen sink, you know, half coffee, little plant next to it, kind of dirt came out a little bit. Those kind of pictures, the red Solo cup through the window picture. There's just different. So those were out pretty early. Um, there was a lot of that speculation going on around that
Right.
time when those came
True.
out. Yeah.
I can't see this one. I have no idea what this one says. No idea. Can you see it? I have
Yeah.
my screen is so tiny. Which one is this? Oh, these are just the statements I think that he made, right? Can you read those out? Because I can't see them.
Yeah. The first one, I feel like the white car isn't relevant. Which, I mean, which white car? Because there was a few of them.
Yeah, but if that was, I mean,
Now they're talking about a
hypothetically,
Prius too. Yeah.
yeah, and hypothetically, if that was him, then he
Let's
would be
hope
saying,
everything.
"Oh no, this isn't relevant." But I guess that's just. And then what else does it say?
Fight Me, Ellie is no closer to solving this than they were 30 days ago. And then it says Papa Rogers wiped from Facebook. I think a lot of people were creeped out by him because if you read his post, it was a lot of uh, this is how it took place. If it differed from his
Mm-hmm.
opinion, he snapped and bit back. Definitely told you were wrong, and then just reiterated even more and more and more as time went on. It almost seems like he was getting frustrated because he was bragging, but nobody was really believing him. Is
Yeah,
what I got from it when we read it.
and I think this is the one where he's laying out the profile of why his opinion of why that house was chosen, et cetera, et cetera. Which, yeah,
Mm.
I mean, it could be circumstantial, uh, but
I don't remember that one. Can you zoom
Okay,
into
the
that one a
date.
little bit?
Yeah, I mean, well, this goes back to a very unpopular video that I made. Um, but I still, here is the thing. It's all allegedly. It's all theory. Okay, so Brian Koberger, obviously, whether or not he ends up being the perpetrator of this crime or not, he obviously had a, I don't know, kind of interest in military type things and things like knives, et cetera, et cetera. Uh, and I mean, so what I had speculated on, okay, let me go back here for just a second.
I mean, Koberger did purchase 4 knives, one from Blue Ridge Knife Company, Amazon, Walmart, and eBay. There are receipts for those.
Yeah, and I think but now what was his name? Kopaka, something
Hmm.
like that. Kopak. What's his name? You know the
Kopaka.
guy,
Yeah,
Kopaka.
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 Hmm.
Kopaka. Okay, yeah, names. But anyway, of course he was kind of military type stuff too. But in the Reddit post that they have decided were Brian that's inside looking, and I had to go back to my video to find that, and now I can't remember. So there you go. But he had made some kind of statement on there about military, and I don't know if it was a Rambo type thing. Now, backing up to uh, 2000, 2012, 2013, I think maybe, there was a guy named Eric Frine who was from Brian's same area, the Poconos, over, in that general area in Pennsylvania. Now, I don't remember a whole lot about this case, and I had to look it up. Eric Frine basically unalived 2 police officers at shift change between. Oh my gosh, my cat just knocked the whole drawer out of my dresser. What are you
Aw.
doing? Yeah, whatever. Whatever.
It's
It's
just look.
live. What can you
It's just
do?
looking at you like,
Yeah, now she's solid black, so she's like a void. All I see are yellow eyes. Like,
oh shit.
am I in trouble,
Sorry,
Mom?
Mama.
Yeah, yeah, that'll be fun to pick up. Thank you, Sachi. But anyway, no, Frine was very, he had a whole different personality than Brian, obviously, but this Brian would have been, you know, a teenager, okay? Impressionable. I just assume at that age. What Eric Frine did is he committed this crime. He was really anti government, yada, yada. Like I said, different reasons, but he ran. Okay. The police knew who did it. They even knew where he was, but he hid out for like 48 days, something like that. And
Oh
he
wow.
was so skilled, yeah, out in that area in the mountains. And he was so skilled that even though they knew where he was, they could never find him. I think he was kind of like emulating Rambo. And this was
Hmm.
on the news like daily. It was a huge thing. And at one point, they even sent up a balloon, like, with, I don't know if it was a heat
Like a.
seeking thing or, yeah, I
Oh
mean, it
yeah.
was trying to find him, like looking everywhere, sending this up, trying to and I don't know what the technology was in 2013. For goodness sakes, it seems like it was forever ago. But yeah, they were
Hmm.
honestly doing everything. So they had all these agencies out there searching for this guy, and it took that long for them to take him into custody to even find him. Now, hypothetically, oh, I'm getting dark. Oh wait, there we go. That's weird. Where did the darkness come from? Woo!
Spirits. It is a
I
haunted
don't know.
house.
I
It is a
don't know.
haunted house.
It is a haunted house, yeah.
That is
So
right.
there's that. But
I remember.
yeah. But that's weird. My light's plugged in. I don't know what's going on. Cat knocking stuff over. But anyway, Frine was an anti-hero. I mean, he was infamous. You know what I'm saying? He was, if you were somebody who is interested, um, you're a crime follower, he was almost vetted like a hero because nobody could catch him. And he almost got to the point where people were like, go Eric. Um, Now, he had some mental health problems as well. And his his parents got sued. Actually, it was just settled at the end of 2022.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
that yeah, the wife of one of the officers sued the parents because uh, they were mental health workers. They knew he had issues, and they did nothing to protect or to get him treatment, to make sure he was safe for people to be around. I guess I don't know.
Hmm.
So that was interesting, but it made me
Hmm.
wonder if Brian is the perpetrator. Oh, I know what it was. In my video, it says, inside looking says, okay, it won't take long for them to find him, and then the hunt begins. Okay, that is exactly what happened with Frine. They found him. Oh, now I've got a visitor. Um, they found him, and then but it really wasn't about, for Frine, it wasn't about the murder as much as it was about the chase. So it made me wonder,
Right.
was Koberger thinking, hey, uh, I'm gonna do the same thing, except I'm gonna be smarter, I'm gonna be better, I'm gonna outwit them more. I mean, I don't know. It was a thought. Like I said, very unpopular opinion and very
No, I
unpopular
mean,
video.
that's that's kind of what I thought, in the beginning was the same kind of thing. Like, uh, it was that exact kind of scenario. I don't, I don't, I'm surprised you got hate for it. Maybe it was just because of the time period or something.
Well, I didn't get hate so much. Sorry, I'm trying to fix my lights. I didn't get hate so much as I got no views and no comments, and nobody
Oh,
saying, "Hey,
really?
that's a thought." Just
Huh.
like, I really got the impression that people were thinking you weirdo.
No,
So,
that's a, no, I mean, it's a valid, thought for sure.
um,
Uh, One of the most.
but
So
anyway, it is what
re-release
it
it.
is. What?
Re-release it. Re-release it.
I thought about actually doing it again, and
Yeah,
my editing skills weren't as good, and I think I didn't have the energy, like the high energy. I was like, I don't know. I might redo it, but
for
since
sure.
then, I've
Do
seen
it.
people say this, and I'm like, hey, y'all thought I was crazy.
Yeah. You're
I'm,
right.
I'm not. I'm not gonna,
Yeah.
like, I'm not gonna argue that point. Okay, I know,
Hmm.
but
Hmm.
yet I thought that it was a valid theory.
Oh, it is.
Speculation.
It it
Allegedly.
de- allegedly. It definitely is, and trust me, like I get called a bunch of stuff as it is already. So, just keep thinking what you're thinking. Follow your gut. Um, there's everybody's got an opinion, just like the other thing. So
Oh, yeah.
who cares? What makes sense to you is what makes sense to you, and that's what matters. um,
Yeah.
Eventually people will see what you're saying, or where if they have the path to actually find the truth. They're gonna explore all theories because that's the only way you can find the truth. You have to ask questions, and you have to explore everything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, exactly. I mean, where would we be in any case, especially these cold cases? I watch a lot of documentaries on cold cases, and, you have to. If it doesn't fit in the box, then you've got to look outside the box. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Are you going to be
Nope.
wrong? Yeah, sure. You're going to be wrong a lot, maybe.
Yeah,
But eventually you'll hit on the right thing. And I guess that's my thing with Brian now. Half of me says, yeah, he wrote these things. This could be his motivation. There were so many reasons that could have been a motivation. But then the other part of me is like, yeah, but. And I think maybe one of the things that bothers me is does he just seem overly happy in court? Like he really doesn't look like somebody who's afraid of, you know, being in jail the rest of his life. To me,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
his attorney, like the interaction between them, I'm like, well, he seems like he's having a good time.
I don't know. I mean, I could see that he's stressed because you could see it in the jaw, the
Oh
clenching as
yeah,
soon as he walked through the courtroom. I think that he is just about his business. Whenever you, other than the one smirk that you're talking about, every other time that he's done a smirk, he's either been the first one to stop the smirk before the other one does, or he's just, it's like one of his college room classmates had said that had worked on a project with him, said that he had the ability to just, you know, shut it off in a second. He was talking about how, they were laughing and he was laughing. He's like, "Come on, man, stop laughing. I gotta take the picture." And then the friend was like, just in a split second, he was just like, boom, serious. Like, so you
yeah,
can see that when, in any of these court appearances where he does smirk at his attorney real quick, and then it's just before he's even facing forward, it's already gone off his face. I think it's just trying to look presentable, and I think I don't know. It's either two things. Like he really does think like if he did commit the crime, and with what he said when he was arrested in PA, maybe he's that cocky and confident to think that he will, and so he's about his business in that aspect. Or if he didn't commit the crime, he's about the business because he's ready to get the hell out because he knows that they don't have the evidence. Um, I don't know about I. I'll say this. I don't think to me it looks like he's having a good time, but I'll tell you it doesn't look like, I don't know. I would probably be, and this is just me, I would probably be looking a hell of a lot worse than what he's looking like, but uh I don't know.
I mean,
Do-
yeah. Well, I guess he has to look somber. Let's just say he's innocent, okay? Even if you're innocent and you know you're innocent, like you can't go in, the courtroom being completely yeehaw because woohoo, that doesn't look good,
right.
you,
Yeah.
but at the same time, it seems like sometimes, there are certain expressions, but I mean, we're human, and you know, I I am just sure that if it were me, uh, being in court, arrested for some reason, I have no doubt that I would be wildly inappropriate, laughing at the wrong times. I've got that there disease where you laugh at serious stuff, and so
Oh yeah.
oh God, yeah, don't take me to a funeral. Yeah, don't.
Oh.
Just don't. Or say something very serious in a meeting, and I don't know. It's a syndrome or some. It's a psychiatric problem. I have that. So I mean, I'm sure I'd be inappropriate, and there's no telling what people would think of me. But yeah, I just noticed that he seemed, for I guess, for all of the people saying, that he was a woman hater, or whatever, misogynistic, I guess, in some ways. He seems pretty comfortable with his attorney, so
I
um
mean, well, that, and you even look at the body cam when he got pulled over for running the red light or stop sign or whatever it was. Um the one that just came out recently. Like, uh, if I don't know. I mean, we have heard reports about him getting kicked out of bars and stuff, whether it was in Pullman, Moscow, or PA. But I don't know. There's Is that true? Who knows? It could just be some kind of spin that people are trying to throw out there to add something else to it. Um, off the body cam, uh,
Mhm.
he didn't look like he was condescending in any way. He didn't look
No.
like in fact, I thought that he came across um, calm and collective and asking valid questions. If you're new to the area and you're not familiar, with how the road laws work or whatever, just asking questions, being polite and respectful. So, I mean, I don't know. You did hear that he graded people harder as a teacher's assistant, but then when
Yeah.
we're talking to Kim said that that's every teacher's assistant. So to say that he was, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. It's just it's I don't know. The more that I dig into it, the more that it seems like the case is being put around him. And I'm not saying that he's
Yeah.
innocent. I'm just saying, as a juror, if I'm putting myself in that position, uh, to me, it just looks. I don't know. It just looks like you hear one thing, but then you hear or see something else, and it all contradicts each other.
Yeah. I guess that, and we're probably going to be speculating, until trial. Do you think they're going to stay on schedule? Or
Oh hell no,
I mean,
no.
it's not
It's
usual, but then I heard
yeah,
somebody say his attorney wants to push it through quick. I don't know if that's
yeah.
true or not.
She wants it to start 11/22.
Wow.
Ain't that
Wow.
creepy?
Yeah, and what do you think about this?
Eleven
Okay,
twenty-two.
I can't remember which parent it was. Was it? You'll know this, I'm sure, CJ, because you've followed this. But his attorney actually represented one of the girls' moms, or was it the mom or stepmom of
Suppose
somebody?
I don't know. I heard for a long time that she was representing X's mom.
Yes.
She X's mom even came on News Nation. By the way, when you get monetized, don't play News Nation because they. I just learned the hard way tonight about News
Oh,
Nation.
really?
So, oh yeah, yeah, it's ridiculous. Frickin' News Nation, not all of them, demonetized my video. But anyway, uh,
Really?
yeah, for like not even a minute of their shit. It
Oh,
was when
wow.
we were talking about Henrietta. But shit, I lost my train of thought. Sorry about that.
Oh, well, I'm glad you told me though. You were talking about they had said that she had represented Xana's
Yeah.
mom.
Yeah, but then I had heard also that it wasn't true. Now I heard that it was true for a long time. Uh but then I also heard that it wasn't. I don't know. That would have to be something that I would have to actually, you know, find the document or whatever. But as far as I know, it sounded like the mom was making it up.
Hmm. Now, I just again, I don't have the memory of an elephant, but True Crime Design did that video where she
Great
shows a
channel.
lot of the documentation, and she's usually extremely thorough. Love her channel because she's so informative.
Great channel. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you watch, and I may watch it again to see if, because she had so many documents, it's like, my brain can't retain that much at a time. But I thought that she had proved that the attorney actually was representing Xana's mom at one time. But I'm
I
not.
mean,
I'm not.
and it was something to do with a substance charge. I know that. Um,
Right.
but I guess this is what is weird is I heard she was assigned the case, but she was already doing that stuff before she was assigned, I think. So I don't know. I don't know how all that stuff works. So it could be normal that you have to transfer your clients to somebody else when you're taking over a high profile case. I'm not sure how that works. Um, But I don't know. I heard for a long time that she was just because of the Banfield. But then when you come, when it comes to the News Nation and kind of what they've been putting out there the last couple months, it's hard to really trust anything that they say at this point.
Yeah, I mean it is, but and again, it's one of those. I didn't think, honestly. I I had to make a choice when I started doing Idaho and Delphi at the same time. I didn't have time to research with my work schedule and do quality videos on both, so I chose Delphi. And I really thought at the time, um, Idaho is, they've already caught Coburger, and this is going to be kind of routine. Um, I didn't realize that there were going to be so many ifs, ands, buts, rabbit holes, and what I did see was like,
Mhm.
ooh, I can't mention that right now. It's just not the
Mhm.
time for it. But
Right.
now, as we're going on, yeah, this gets crazy. We have about 20 minutes. So I didn't know, CJ, if whatever you want to say or if you want to address stuff in the chat. I just want to make sure that everybody, I'm trying to highlight y'all stuff, but y'all just talking so fast and
I
y'all
know.
having,
I know.
you're having your own little, discussion in there. And that's great. That's
Oh
great.
yeah.
But
I've been trying to keep up too. I've been having a hard time.
yeah,
Uh
it's,
For sure. No, just definitely hit the like. Show Silky some love, please. There's 100, as far as I can see, there's 115 watching and only 73.
cool.
So definitely hit the like for you. And I don't know, you're more. I'm gonna go live after our show's over.
Hmm.
So I'm just gonna go live for a little bit, just like an after party kind of thing. So if you'd want to hop over, I'd love to have you up on panel and we can promote the show that you did tonight a little more if you'd like to. If you'd like, just
I
just gonna hang out, not really.
Okay. I may come in for just a few minutes. I have to
Yeah.
get up at 4 a.m., so
Oh,
I
I
can't
feel
hang
yeah.
out
I'm
very
just used
long.
to not. I'm just used to not going to bed till like 1. So
Oh
that's
my
all. It's
gosh.
early for me. But
Jeez.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get about 3 hours of sleep maybe, and
How do you
coffee.
function?
Well, I've always been that person that didn't need much sleep. I mean, honestly, up until a few years ago, I only really needed like 2.5 hours of sleep, and I was good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I've always like when I was younger. Oh, I probably slept my ass off, but as in my 20s and
Yeah.
30s, and as I get older, like no, not that much. I just need a little bit of sleep, and then I'm good to go. I don't know. I don't know. I just have like when I was talking about like how the show um, kind of helped me and everything. And so I don't know. I just have that drive to just keep going. Um, I don't know, because maybe it's more of like an insecurity kind of thing where if I feel like I slow down or uh, I don't um, give it all my shot, everything that I got, that maybe
Yeah.
I'll end up kind of falling back down into that kind of like, I guess. So if that makes sense. Um,
Yeah. I mean, I guess well, first of all, I have to have at least 6 hours. And you know, I know what you said earlier when you're talking about, I don't have a life. I don't either. I haven't ever since last November, October, November, when I started, hitting on some of
yeah,
these cases. And
yeah.
yeah, your whole life goes to this, and that's okay because, like you, I have a goal. But yeah, I couldn't do that, CJ. I would, if I did that more than 2 days in a row, only a couple of hours of sleep, I would be a raging monster. Uh, you know, I know it's hard to believe, but
Hey, no, I mean, and I'm not gonna say I'm not. a monster in my own way sometimes too, you know. There I just don't let it come through the show. There's days that I have a really shitty fucking day,
Mhm.
and I have, like, nothing's going right, and I come home and then I have to, like, shut it off and forget about everything that took place, because I know that if I don't, then it's gonna come out through the show, and then that energy is gonna go out there, and it's like a solar flare hitting Earth, and I ain't trying to do that to nobody. So I
Yeah.
just kinda, and then I just kinda decompartment whatever that whatever, and, I just I just don't wanna give that off to anybody. So I know that sometimes it may seem like I am, like, not my normal self, and it's just because I might be a little more quiet, just because I know that, I had a shit day, and I the last thing I want to do is let that even out. But um it's not even as much work as I which is my goal, is to do the Monday through Friday 8 to 4. Right now I'm
Mhm.
only streaming 3 to 4, sometimes 5 hours on the weekend. But if I get to where I'm trying to get to, that's 8 hours a day of streaming. So
Yeah, I can't. Oh, I just went dark. Oh, there I am. Yeah, but see, I can't. I just can't do that. I don't. Honestly, I do good. I try to do at least one live a week. And, I was trying to put out 2 videos a week, but that editing, people don't understand. For a 10-minute video, I could spend
yeah.
6, 7 hours at least, sometimes 10, editing a
Mhm.
very short video to get it exactly right. And then, a lot of that was learning, but still, even when I got better at it, it still took forever. And live streaming has its perks, but I don't feel like I always get my point across, because I want to interact with everybody on the chat. And it's not like, sitting down and just shooting a video and telling everything. It's always, and I love that, but it has its downside as well. So
Yeah.
you get distracted. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you don't. I do. Somebody says something and I'm off on a bunny trail. Um, it-
Oh, all the time. All the time. Like, the content I come into a show with is usually about an hour, hour and a half.
Mhm.
And I already know that that hour, hour and a half of content is already gonna be 3 hours, because of the interaction, and because of, maybe somebody else brings something up and we go to a link that somebody sends me or something like that. But that's the beautiful thing about it, though, is that I would rather have what I call the brain stew. I would rather have the brain stew any
Mhm.
day than a clip from any news channel, you know? So even just going live, just try the Google Voice thing sometimes, and maybe, if you don't like doing the whole live thing a lot, just take phone calls sometimes or something to your messages.
I don't know. I don't really understand what you're talking about. The
Oh, the
Google Voice thing. What's that?
Yeah, where people call, you got a phone number, and you can like, the screen share. You just don't screen share the actual Google Voice. You have, your camera over it or whatever. But the audio comes through. It's like when anybody calls in on the call-in line on the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
'Cause that's a really great thing that I think is a really cool feature for any show, and, I definitely need to add more of that in the talk show. But, it's a good way to interact with the community that isn't able to join, through YouTube or StreamYard or anything, because everybody pretty much has a phone. Um
Yeah.
and so it's a good way to interact. I mean, there's people that I probably wouldn't have even heard from, that have called through, and they've been awesome calls. Um,
Well, now that I had to do that with my last guest because whatever reason, she came through on the platform okay, but people couldn't hear her. There was something with her audio, so I ended up just holding my phone because she had my phone number, and
Oh.
I ended up just holding it up to the microphone, and it worked good. But since I've done this, someone like months ago, when I said I don't know how to do this yet, he was telling me, "Hey, and if you're in here, like throw that up on the screen." He was telling me he wanted to tell me the story of when, who was it? A family member of his kicked Bill and Roger Clinton out of a bar or something. Out of, he said it was a funny
Really?
story. I was like, yeah, that sounds that sounds like a fun, and sometimes I think it's good to just interact and blow off some steam
Always. Yeah.
because with this, especially when you're researching true crime, I don't know, I feel sometimes like I really need to decompress, especially when you're really looking at things closely and you spend hours and hours. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
I know I do. I spend hours watching news reports and reading articles and then listening to some other creators. Hey, and by the end of the day, on a day off when I'm doing all this research, by the end of the day, I'm like, dang, you know,
Mhm. Mhm.
it's depressing. It's
It
depressing.
can
So,
it consumes you, and
hmm
I'm telling you, I haven't watched a regular TV show and I don't know how long because I feel like if I have an extra 10 or 15 minutes where I can watch something, I'm always trying to do some kind of research or something. It's a never-ending kind of thing, but I love it. You know,
yeah. Oh, I
I
do
love
too.
it. I love it. It'll never
Yes.
be work to me. Never.
Exactly, exactly. And same here. I, I know there was something, and I'm not, I used to be on Facebook a lot on my personal account, and like I haven't been on Facebook. It's so rare. I mean, even I look at my daily memories. That's about it, and I really don't know what's going on. But I happened to be on there decompressing last night, and somebody put up there. You know how you answer these polls. How many
Mhm.
shows have you watched? So they listed 100. I think it was 100 TV shows, and put a little heart by each one. I'm looking down this list out of 100. Oh, and you had to see more than 10 episodes of it. Okay, so that knocked out a whole lot because I watch about 10 minutes of something. I'm like, I just can't. Of actual programs, out of that 100, I had watched 19. 19.
Hmm.
And I mean, I've heard of most of them, like they're major, uh, programs. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know what's going on in the world, and I certainly don't watch the news anymore unless I'm looking for a specific thing.
Mhm.
Um, and I didn't know. Like a couple of days ago, people at work were like, what do you think about all the UFOs? I'm like, huh? The UFO what? Like when I missed
Oh
that
yeah.
whole thing. Yeah.
Tune in Friday. We'll be having a show on UFOs. We're going to be having live call in, people sharing
Oh
their
wow.
stories. It's going to be fun. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah,
Definitely
I'll
hang
get
out
off.
Friday.
I'll be able to. What time do you start on Friday?
7 o'clock Central. I'll be starting.
Okay. Well, I
Eight
should be
o'clock
home,
Eastern.
so I can
Yeah,
hop
we'll be
in that chat.
talking. Yeah, we'll be talking UFOs all night. Maybe even get into the moon landing and Bigfoot. And
Oh, that's a big thing. What is the
yeah,
the theory of why can't I think of the director's name? He directed The Shining. You know who I'm talking about?
no.
Uh, um, y'all, somebody. Anyway, very famous director. It is said, theorized by some people. It's allegedly
Stan
that
Kubrick.
yes, yes, that's him. That he had something to do with filming, the moon landing, orchestrating it, whatever. I don't know. I
Well,
don't
I
know.
mean, it's just like I had somebody send me a picture today that was showing me the picture of the boot on the moon, and
Mm-hmm.
then the actual astronaut's boot of the bottom of it. Neil
Hmm.
Armstrong.
Wow. Did they match?
No.
No, really?
No. I mean,
Oh,
do you know do you know about the Kuiper belt?
no.
Oh boy. Yeah.
You're gonna have to
Yeah,
catch me up. I'm gonna have to catch
it's a
that show. But
radiation belt between the moon and the earth.
oh,
How do you get through a radiation belt and come back to earth with no signs of radiation, but the the shuttle or the module was so thin that they were worried that astronauts might be able to kick a hole through it.
oh wow.
It was like tinfoil.
Yeah. Well, I that makes sense.
I'm not saying they didn't land on it. I'm just saying. I'm just
That is,
saying.
yeah. I don't understand. I don't know what kind of, but
I'm
that was a
just
long
saying.
time ago for that kind of technology too.
Well,
Um,
you talked about one of those programs that they ran back then, right? MK Ultra.
yes, yes,
All right.
absolutely.
You know the stuff that they were messing with.
Mm-hmm.
Who's to say that they weren't experiment? Because if you go back and look at the training that the astronauts had before they went to the moon, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were using satellite and they had pictures. So what they were doing for the training for the astronauts to get them prepared to go to the moon was they were taking screens and covering the windows of the module. So when they're doing their testing, when they're looking out the windows of the module, there's screens of the satellite images of the moon moving on the windows to give them the impression that they're orbiting the
Oh,
moon in training.
wow.
Who's to say a little MK Ultra wasn't mixed in with some shit and the astronauts were going, "Holy shit, we're on the fucking
Yeah.
moon."
Maybe a little LSD too. I mean, yeah, yeah. I mean, it is certainly something else, and you know, I I just don't think in the whole universe we're alone. Now, what's out there, I don't know. I don't know. I just in case we turn into
It's crazy
pumpkins,
shit.
y'all. Okay, we've got like 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Um.
And then
So
come hang out over at the show.
I will.
You too. You too.
Yeah, all of y'all. Everybody, listen. Everybody, just go over to CJ's.
I'm just gonna
Um.
go kick it live. I'm not even gonna put a notey out. It's just gonna go live.
Well, I'm gonna get something to drink and run to the bathroom. And
Yeah.
then yeah, party at CJ's.
Thank you
Come
so
on.
much, Silky. My gosh. We
Oh well,
finally
thank
did it.
you.
We finally
No,
did
thank
it.
you for coming on. I had wanted you to be my first guest, and we couldn't get the schedules together. That was my plan. Um, but you're a busy man, CJ. What can I say?
Yeah.
Uh,
And seriously, Silky, anytime you don't even need to ask, you just say, "Hey, give me that link," and you're up there for real.
oh,
Your name is carved on one of them seats. All right,
oh,
seriously.
thank you. Same here. You're welcome
Yeah.
anytime,
Thank you so
anytime,
much.
CJ.
Thank you so much.
All right, all right. So we're gonna leave here, and I'm gonna turn the end screen on, and everybody
Thank you.
party at CJ's. Okay.
Peace. Peace.
And we'll all see you. If I can get this to work, we'll all see you in a few minutes. I'm still here. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing. There we go.